Okay.
But are we being recorded?
We're live. Okay.
Are we live or being recorded?
Recorded.
Okay, sorry. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Did everyone else get all pages of the resolution?
I didn't get it either.
I won't vote on it anyway, but mine only has page 1 and 3.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to a regular meeting of the Montclair Historic Preservation Commission. It is Thursday, June 20th, 2024. Notice has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the notice on the first floor of the municipal building and by sending a copy to the Montclair Times, the Star Ledger, and the Herald News. We are being recorded. We are not being broadcast live on Channel 34 Montclair TV and streamed on the YouTube channel. Roll call. Janice, would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Happy summer solstice to everybody here.
Yes.
Chair Bennett.
Present.
Mr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Reimnitz.
Here.
Mr. Rooney.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Here.
Mr. Giuliano.
Here.
Okay. And we have Mr. Smolin here as well.
Here.
Yes, and Janice Talley is here acting as our secretary, and we're introducing or saying hello to Zana, who
Zana.
will be the assistant secretary for the upcoming rest of the year until January. So welcome.
Welcome.
And I think we have to have a motion to accept Zana as our assistant secretary. So would somebody like to make a motion to
I'll make a motion
Second.
what is your motion?
to accept Santa as our secretary.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, and welcome again. Thank you. Approval of the minutes. Our minutes are from May 9th, 2024. Has anyone got any changes or addendum, or anything for the minutes? John?
I don't have any changes to the minutes. I just have a question or two. The referral, the 75 Lloyd Road, which was referral, do we know if they incorporated any of our suggestions in going back to the planning? Is it before the planning department, I guess?
I don't know, was that heard was that already heard?
It was supposed to be heard last night, but the meeting was canceled
Because of,
because we didn't have a quorum.
right.
Oh.
And honestly, I don't know if because Farah was handling that, I don't know if they made changes. So-
Right, okay.
But
So I would
it'll be
defer.
heard July 17th,
It went to the planning board?
zoning board.
Oh, the zoning board, okay,
So,
And I know it'll be heard July 17th.
okay.
okay, that was my, we do all this work and then we don't hear
Yeah.
anything back, and we don't know what's going on, so I don't
Quite
know.
often, the boards go through your recommendations and make them conditions of their approval. So I do know that the boards incorporate quite often your recommendations.
Okay.
So-
I guess the way to know is to read the minutes of their meeting, right?
Right.
So, okay.
And ask follow-up questions. I just don't have the answer to
No,
you.
no, that's okay. I just-
Unless you want to go and.
I didn't want
and
to comment on
speak-
the.
Right, and to
Yeah.
speak to the application at the zoning board.
Right.
I mean, we
Right,
have done that in the
right,
past.
Right, or the Board of Adjustment, yeah.
Right.
Okay. I have no comments about the minutes themselves.
Do you?
I had a few comments. On page 3, line 43, it says, despite code considerations, they, meaning the commissioners, raised concerns about accessibility issues. I would just suggest we say some commissioners raised concerns about accessibility issues, because the code issues were the accessibility issues.
Did you say this was line 3 or line?
43.
Oh, 43.
I was going
This
to
doesn't show
suggest
up
to
with the
strike
line.
that.
Oh, you want to just strike it?
I think we should just strike it.
I would strike it, that's fine.
That whole sentence?
Yes.
I'm okay striking it. And I would say, the next sentence, instead of just saying they, I would say, I don't think we agreed on this, so I would say some commissioners emphasized maintaining the original door's appearance. I would say in depth, and expressed a willingness to explore changes to the glass and framing system.
Okay.
And anybody else?
I just have one more comment. Again, this is a internet, or this is, I don't have, when it comes via the internet to me, I don't have the line numbers on my document.
Okay, I don't know.
It doesn't show up, so I don't know. I just throw it out there to,
But that's when I know that it's an attachment to the email, right?
yeah,
And so your attachment doesn't include the line numbers.
that's right.
That's
It's
beyond
just-
my
just throw it out there.
understanding.
You want me to comment on the minutes? There you go.
I had a couple more as well.
Yes,
But,
go ahead.
I would say at page 4, line 17, just a simple one. Eric Schultz, a licensed architect, presented for the applicant and was sworn in. I think we need to add for in between presented and the.
Okay,
Page 5, line 17, capitalize consider. Same line 17, I think there's an extra comma between feet and into. I think there should be a space. And then I would say, instead of retaining, I said maybe slash retaining, say which will maintain the arch while gaining cover for the entity. And that's all I got.
Okay.
And I had another change, or another, it's really an addition, and I think it should go at line 12 on page 3. I produced a detail of the metal framing, which proved to be brass under the coats of paint. The applicant was asked to consider stripping the paint in order to expose the original surface.
can you send that to me?
Sure.
I can't.
And then also, after line 24, if you would include Mr. Smolin presented his report.
After line 24?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Right, because then he goes into, it goes into the description of his
Okay.
report. Okay, so with those changes, may I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Mr. Sweeney,
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
because Mr. Sweeney's abstaining because he was not in attendance. Now, we do have a change to the agenda, which I want to acknowledge before we begin the meeting. Under new business, application 2024-12, 16 Pleasant Avenue, it should be Pleasant Avenue Holdings. Application for total demolition permit has been postponed to our next meeting, which is July 25th, at the request of the owner. So anyone here for that application, we will not be discussing it tonight. So, moving along, we have the resolution, application 2405 for 20 Church Street, Diesel and Duke, block 2206, lot 6, for the signage and the removal of the awning. Has everyone had the opportunity to read the resolution? I believe, because I had the same problem, that the second page was not included, or the third page.
Second.
Second page.
She's got it.
It wasn't included in what was emailed to you?
And what was mailed?
What was
It wasn't-
mailed?
In the package, it wasn't there.
Okay.
The email didn't include it.
Email didn't include either.
The email
Other than
didn't.
that, it was great.
All right, okay, that was probably my fault, all right. So, are there any
So
changes?
7 and 8, maybe you could read point, well, we have 6. It ends, page 1 ends.
Well, 6 is just the documents submitted.
Right. Is there any, maybe you can just read it.
And 7, I don't think I need to read the documents submitted. 7 is the scope of work, which is the proposal calls for alterations to the original ground floor commercial storefront located on the south side of Church Street between South Park Street and South Fullerton Street. The proposal calls for demolishing an existing glazed storefront system, bulkhead sill, awnings, and exterior floor surfacing, and constructing a new glazed storefront system and ADA accessible entry door within the existing opening. 2 signs are also proposed. A wall sign measuring 2 feet by 3 feet made of a 1/4 inch thick metal individual letters with a matte finish, pin mounted on the wall with a 1-inch protrusion, and a blade sign set 10 feet from the sidewalk. The commission noted that the applicant's proposed facade improvements do not adhere to the intent of the design criteria contained in the township's historic preservation ordinance and are not in full compliance with the guidelines adopted by the Secretary of the Interior. Therefore, the applicant requested for the application to be divided into 2 parts. 1, the facade improvements, and 2, the signage and awning removal. The signage was approved with conditions and conforms to the zoning code. The awning removal was approved with conditions. The applicant will return for the facade improvements to the Historic Preservation Commission. Number 8, the Historic Preservation Commission approved the signage and awning removal in the application with the following conditions. 1, the blade sign is approved as presented. 2, the company sign, pin-mounted individual letters, no backer board, no illumination in the sign band above the storefront. It was noted that the letters may extend higher than the sign band on the storefront to the east by a few inches. There are to be minimal penetrations into the masonry of the building, no more than 4 or 5 pins. The awning. 2 existing awnings are to be removed. If the existing window frames remain, any holes in the frames shall be repaired. Any penetrations into the masonry facade shall be repaired. And that's it for the conditions.
Okay, thank you, Janice. So with everything you just read, on number 11, it's just to add commission decision, the signage is approved. That should also include the removal of the awning is approved.
The signage, okay, and the removal of the awnings. Okay.
Okay, so with those changes,
I move to accept the resolution as read.
okay, and second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain again.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, committee reports. Committee reports. Minor applications, the May 23rd meeting was canceled. The June 4th, we met, 24-12, I'm sorry, which is 16 Pleasant Avenue. That's been postponed until July 25th. 2024, application 2024-13, Taste Platters at 446 Bloomfield Avenue was approved, and also 2024-14, 127 Watchung Avenue, the Fine Art Academy of Montclair, which was an awning replacement. Those 2 were approved. We met today for application 2024-15 for 393 Bloomfield Avenue, the Pilgrim Medical Center, and the current awning is being removed and a new different style awning is being replaced. And also 2024-17, 39 Glenridge Avenue, which is Rosanni's Nail Art. That signage was approved with conditions. There was a skip in there of numbers 2024-16, which is a demolition of historic structure at 28 Carteret Street, which I guess we're going to hear next month.
I was thinking of postponing or scheduling that for August, because you have another demolition next month.
Right.
And if we do this in August, because you're not going to be heard, if you approve it for the garage, they're not going to be heard until September at the Board of Adjustment. So
Okay.
I'm trying to keep your meetings
Oh, right.
of reasonable length.
Right, and I'm trying to go numerically so that we don't get.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that will be heard at our August meeting. And I would just like to circle back to Bloomfield Avenue, which I think we'll have a discussion at the end of the meeting on murals and murals in the Bloomfield Avenue Historic District. Some issues were brought up today. The Revisions Committee, on June 12th, John Rymitz, Mike Graham, and myself met with David Cusimano about their work at 22 Church Street. And could you turn on the computer, Rana, with the image that I showed? Oh, sorry. I should have asked you to put it on before.
You'll get there.
Yeah. So there had been a discussion about which Janice just read, about the storefront and how, and whether the historic storefront could be maintained and renovated. And we were pleasantly surprised when we came on Friday to see that the owner actually had taken our suggestion to strip the brass, it turned out to be brass underneath, and it looks fabulous, really, really good. And I just spoke to the owner now, and he said that the glass is in as well, so I haven't been by. But I just wanted to show the before and after picture, because we certainly appreciate what they were, able to do, and the way that they were able to work with us and take our suggestions. And we hope that this is an indication of other people being able to work. I mean, we are all part of this community, and we want to see it look great. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. Can you see it?
It has these little things that
Oh, sure.
get into the bulbs. It's really amazing.
Where are the lights?
In the office? All those switches over there.
Oh, no. We just wanted to turn the lights on. Thank you.
Steve.
Okay, thank you, Janice. So this is the before picture, which the metal had been painted. It had numerous coats of paint. You can see there's a detail on the right, and just by chipping off a little bit of that paint, we were able to see in the beginning that there was a brass original. And then this is what it looks like when we came on Friday. What they had done is strip the entire door, which now it looks wonderful, and also the surrounding metal elements to it. There is the storefront directly to the west is not it was not brass. We could see that it was not brass. So the applicant has a proposal that he's going to show us tonight. But I thought it was important that people see this to see how successful it was. And again, we really appreciate working with us. Thank you, Janice. Okay, outreach and education. I think I reported about 2 months ago that I had been in contact with the teachers at the high school and the 2 middle schools. There are teachers that have a architectural club, and Ms. Rodriguez from Buzz Aldrin sent me a detailed message just this week about what she's been doing with her children, with her club. So they've been looking at architectural styles. They put together a walking tour. They put together a scavenger hunt. So she wants us to come in maybe one day in the fall to talk to the children and tell the children about her class, her club. They do have a great grounding already. I pushed them. I alerted them to our design guidelines, which gives the different architectural styles. So they're going to be investigating that as well. So we might have some potential HPC members in this group.
Okay.
So I thought that was really interesting. So it would be a future collaboration in the autumn. The annual historic preservation meeting was held in Jersey City this year. I spoke in collaboration with 2 other HPC commissioners and in different communities, actually in South Jersey. One was from Cranberry and the other one was from Burlington. And the session was about the CLG grants and how beneficial they are to communities. And there were people that wanted to have more information about it. And while I was doing that, it would force me to really look into our CLG program. And since I've been involved, which is 2013, I believe, we've actually gotten 10 grants from the CLG program. So I think we've been very successful in that. And that just leads up to our latest grant, which we received, which is going to be Phase 2 of the Upper Montclair Commuter District. So the gentleman from the SHPO sent us an email today about a planning meeting and getting together in July. I think you were copied on it, Janice.
I don't know, I didn't receive an email today.
From David Rensky. He gave 4 dates. They're all in July.
Unless it came this afternoon while I was at a meeting. No, I did not, the plan copy.
Well, when I asked him to, I sent you the email that
I
you're,
asked him to include me too.
right.
We're not made aware of it. So if you
Okay.
can forward
Oh,
it
yeah,
to
it just
me.
came, it came about 1 o'clock this
Yeah, I didn't
afternoon.
get it, so-
So, anybody in the commission that's interested, that want to see what we're doing, we did get the official letter from the Assistant Commissioner at SHPO, which states, on behalf of the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, I am pleased to award the Township of Montclair with a certified local government grant for the Phase 2 Upper Montclair Commuter Area Survey. The project has been selected for funding at the requested amount of $30,000 for federal fiscal year 2024.
I didn't receive that either.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
I don't have that letter. No, it was sent to, who was it sent to?
It's copied.
the mayor.
Nobody gave it to me, which was, again, this is a problem because I have to put it in the budget and I have to.
Okay, well, this was actually dated May 22nd, and then I think I received it at the end of May.
I never received it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Department never-
Well, here, I can pass this, and I can,
30,000 is not bad.
no. So at this meeting, the kickoff meeting, we'll talk about dates and what how we've done in the past.
Deadline.
Yep. So that's my reporting for our committees. Does anyone else have anything else to report? No? How's the planning board going, Mike?
We're doing okay. We're expect things to pick up sooner, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Mr.
Little
Graham-
transition.
Yeah, Mr. Graham has been appointed vice chair.
Vice chair.
Of the planning board, so we're in good company.
Thank you. Thank you.
So with no more committee reports, is there anyone that would like to speak from the public? If so, please come to the podium.
Do I need to write my name someplace?
No,
Um,
just to identify yourself.
No, just identify yourself and,
Can you hear me?
No.
No.
Is the green light on?
Now can you hear me?
Better, yeah.
Okay. Hello, my name is Johanna Coxeter. I live in the 4th Ward at 165 Lincoln Street. And I understand that 16 Pleasant Avenue has been postponed, but I would nonetheless like to say that I took a walk over there. It's a beautiful house and a nice lot. And of course, it's got a really big lot, which should probably be developed to give more housing for more people. But if we could preserve that house, it would be a good combination of some housing, some preservation. And that's it. Thank you.
thank you. And were you able to look at the documentation that's on the website about 16?
I got the
Pleasant?
link, but I did not take a look at it.
Okay, so I would encourage you to look at it if you come back next month.
Thank you. I was told that they were going to fit 10 houses on the property, and I walked down about a half block away, there's another development that has 8 houses, and I'm thinking, how can they fit 10 houses? But I will take a look before next
Yeah,
month.
please do. Okay,
you.
thank you. Anybody else wish to address the commission? Okay, seeing nobody else, I'll close public business, and we will move on to application 2024-05, 20 Church Street, Diesel and Duke. This is the second part of the bifurcated application. So I'll invite Mr. Cusimano up.
You guys, if you're requested, sample and,
Okay, great. Oh, all right.
and I think, 6%.
Oh, there's copies. Okay. Yeah, here. There you go.
Okay, Mr. Cusimano, you've been sworn in previously, correct? And so you're still under oath. And what you've done is, based on our comments from our June, I believe it was June 10th meeting, you have reimagined, I guess.
I put everything together and discussed, since we are conversating in detail on paper with also a sample of, obviously, the material for the bulk bill.
Is the microphone on, by any chance?
Can you hear me?
It might not be on. It's green? Is it?
That we're recording it.
Use the other one.
No.
They're both green, I mean. Is that better?
There we go. Okay.
So yeah, I just took all the details from our conversation, put everything on paper, brought the sample for you guys as requested. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, what we did on the left side was, obviously, I think everyone's very happy about the way it came out, kind of, our gift to Church Street a little bit, and we really wanted to go above and beyond and make sure we did it the right way and not take any shortcuts on it. We heard everything you guys said. We took it into deep consideration. Obviously, it wasn't our first option, but I think it was the best option ultimately. And that's just kind of where we're at. Obviously, just a continuation of the conversation that we had in person as well.
So would you describe or what you brought for us to see?
So there's
And why,
yeah.
why?
Absolutely. So after
right.
the conversation we had, we ultimately decided that the marble could be replaced pending an approval of a sample. So I dug around to a bunch of different yards, and I went and found an exact antique Vermont Verde slab, which is what you have in front of you there. It seems to be the closest to what I can get to almost exactly what's there. The green color, the veining in it, the coloring. We feel that it's a very, very nice complement to everything else that's being done. As you saw, why do all that work and not have it be complemented by something that can kind of just bring it out even further? And I think once that goes in, it's going to be pretty remarkable what that storefront looks like. And then on the right side, obviously, like we discussed, with the structural integrity being gone, or basically done, and that's not an original historic frame on the right side, that we would create something beautiful made out of steel. I talked about this with John a little bit more in detail. Keeping it raw, lacquering it, sealing it, recreating the molding, the sight lines, keeping everything symmetrical across the top from the left side to the right side, which it was not with what was there. And just continuing to bring out the beauty, not trying to, obviously I can't put brass in there, I just don't, that's impossible. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it. So that's kind of it from my end.
Thank you. Do you have you don't have a sample of the raw steel?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So before we open it up for questions on this from the commissioners, I would just like to say that when we saw the work that had been done on the metal and the way it was stripped, it just made the existing bulkhead, the existing marble, look terrible, really terrible. So
We can agree on that.
yeah. So very much appreciated that you went and found this, and it would be replaced in the same size segments.
Exactly the same.
Okay.
Exactly the same.
Okay, so with that, any questions from the commissioners?
I don't have any questions.
Steve?
No, looks great.
Stephen?
Do you have a picture?
Is your mic on, Steve?
Hi. Do you have a picture? Can you describe in more detail what lacquered steel is?
I don't have a picture now, sorry.
Are you seeing like the bare metal underneath? And
Correct.
And the lacquer's just to prevent it from
Yes,
rusting?
like a sealant on it, yeah. That's what kind of like me and John had spoke about, that we would keep the metal natural. It's not, I wouldn't say black, but it's just a seal to protect it from the elements, because it will be exposed, to prevent it from rusting and stuff like that.
Now, the storefront you have on the left side is going to be the only one in 20 Church Street that's showing its brass. The others are
That
all...
I have control over, yes.
Yeah, the others are all painted.
Correct.
Right. I'm not sure the character of like a lacquered steel. It sounds very like industrial. is maybe appropriate. You may want to look into like a primed and painted finish.
Okay.
And I also think it's a little unclear how the new storefront is coming together. Are there fasteners just not shown in the section detail that exists?
It gets bolted onto the inside of the windows. It's not anything, nothing touches the outside facade.
There's no
It's mounted to
exposed,
the inside. Nothing is exposed. It's
No
all
exposed
mounted to the
fasteners,
inside,
okay.
Correct. No fasteners go into the facade of the building.
but in terms of how the glass and inside and outside mullions come together, that's all fastened from the inside, is what
It's
you're
all
saying?
fastened. Yeah, there's basically like a molding lip. The glass would go in sealed, and then there's trim behind it on the inside.
Okay. Do you have a picture of this marble sample, which from memory looks like a close match? Do you have that like in front of the existing
No.
marble?
Do you want a picture
I have some
of?
good pictures here if you want to see. You're looking for existing?
Just how this
Yeah.
sample of what he's going to replace it with looks in relation to the existing,
Take a
or
look. It's pretty awful. What's there?
yeah, that's the existing. I mean, on site, did you guys determine that each and every piece of green marble is deteriorated beyond reasonable repair?
When we went on Friday, on June 10th, I think well, I won't speak for,
Each one has been damaged. It either has holes kicked
Yeah.
into it, or it has been patched with what, I don't know. You know, essentially. I know what you're saying. You're trying
Not demolish
to
or
demolish
remove
some
stuff
historical
that's-
fabric. I
that's
know,
still
but
got
there really
a
is
lifespan.
not anything there.
And I would suggest this
There may be
does
one.
really appear to be a replacement in kind.
Yeah.
Of steel for steel.
Oh, I meant,
No,
well, I meant
marble,
even the,
marble.
Oh,
okay,
and that, yeah.
and that as well.
I don't have any other questions.
does anyone in the public have any questions of the applicant? No? Okay, so why don't we open up for discussion? And Nick, why don't we start with you?
Oh, I think it's a big improvement from where it started. You know, if you're going to reconstruct the storefront, you know, why not do it so that it
Yeah. Do it the right
matches
way.
with what's there, especially now that what's been uncovered in the one storefront is in such good condition. And
Yeah.
I'd say my only comment is that, you know, it would be nice if both storefronts could have the same metal finish, but given that brass in the new storefront is significantly cost prohibitive, you have to sell a lot of burgers to make up for that. I'm open to the black finish of the raw steel, provided that, you know, the sight lines are all now still the same, the
Yep.
molding profile's the same.
Absolutely.
And it's in a separate bay completely. You know, there's no point where they're meeting together.
contact.
So all in all, you know, I think it's a big improvement, and I'm supportive of it.
John, you were there. You
I was there. I was walking down the street expecting the worst, and was very surprised, and you've done a great job, and
Thank you.
totally in support of everything I see here at the moment.
Thank you.
I do get Stephen's comment about you know, the metal, the bare metal, maybe what that really looks like. I hesitate if it's like a bright stainless steel kind of finish.
No, I wouldn't, no.
I wouldn't want to see that per se, but something
Yeah.
more adult.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we could look at that on site.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like more of a charcoal, would you say,
Yeah.
darker in color?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we had discussed that when we were there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But I think you had told us that there wasn't a way that you could get a sample.
Yeah, they just, like with the timing and
Right.
the cost for them to buy the raw material to get just the same, like, it was a little bit difficult for us to swing that part of it, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel comfortable in what, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
what David is doing, because what he's done so far and how enthusiastic he
Yeah.
is about what's happening there, so
Yeah.
I believe he's trying to do the right thing there, so.
Yeah, that's what it's quite apparent. And very happy that you strip out all the material off the brass and shows what an important storefront it is, and I like the idea of you mimicking at least the sight lines and the pattern and things like that.
Mike?
I wanted to echo Mr. Reimers' comments and Chair Bennett's comments. I thought you did a fantastic job with the storefront. It was stunning when we saw it, even without the glass installed. I'm really supportive of the materials you found to replace the bulkhead, and overall, I think it's just an outstanding project. So I want to commend you on that.
People on the street have been like
It's
knocking on our door. Like, what is this?
Somebody tried to take your door, right?
Well, Grabowski tried to take my door specifically, but yeah, the door is safe and sound.
Excellent, because it really is a
Yeah,
fantastic project.
like I said, it wasn't ultimately what we thought we wanted, but it turned out to be the best decision. So I'm happy that it all that it came to.
It's a
this.
showstopper. It really is.
Mr. Sweeney, do you have any comments?
I wasn't here for the meeting, but I have firsthand observed the space. I walked by it yesterday, and seeing this together, I would say it's a substantial improvement. So that's my comment.
And I would just like to add that, to Mr. Smolin's remark that this would be the only strip brass storefront, the owner actually came down and said he would love to have everything else done on the.
I think
on
that's
the
a longer conversation. We've been talking about it a little
Right,
bit.
right.
The logistics of it are a bit intense,
Right.
but yeah, we're definitely it's a conversation that's happening. You know, I don't know how realistic it is, because all the other storefronts are just single bays. There's two that I believe have been changed from the original out of the 6. But yeah, it's
And if I'm not mistaken, the bay all the way to the west that was not original. You could right. It didn't have any of the original bulkhead, and the marble was different as well.
correct.
Okay, so I think that's what justified when the change to your, what are you calling it? What kind of steel is it going to be?
I'm calling it raw steel. I don't have like but I can definitely, I think now that if this conversation goes the way we all hoped it would go, I can get that to you, or we can meet on site.
I think it'd be best if we met on site.
Let's
Yeah.
do, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll have a sample, you'll
Yeah.
have a sample
Yeah,
by
we'll
then.
follow up with the email and go from there,
Okay.
definitely.
Are there any other comments? Well, I would just like to say thank you for working with us. And
Yes, it's
please
been,
tell other people on
been
the
great.
street that,
Yes.
like I said, we're really invested in the community, want to see
Absolutely.
everybody, you guys
Yeah,
thrive and.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. It'll
And
be
it
a
really
nice
is a
gift to the
standout. I mean, it
Yeah.
is. It's.
No, like I said, I couldn't be, after that day, I wrote you guys, it was
Yeah.
just such a relief to be able to know that, okay, we got this out of it, and this can really be kind of something that we never really anticipated, and how special it'll be for the street. Just me being, born and raised here, and just more and more getting into the community of things, so.
Okay.
That's what was really,
Okay,
kind of
great.
the best part about it, so.
Okay, great. So do you need any more information for the resolution?
I think I need a motion, don't I?
Well, but anything before we, no?
I
Okay.
think I have everything.
Okay, great. So, would someone like to make a motion as to what Mr. Kuzumana presented today for the second part of application 2024-05, which concerns the replacement of the marble bulkhead, and the
Metal detailing of
the detailing of the
the storefront.
storefront to the west.
And you say the replacement of the bulkhead?
Yes.
Yeah.
We said that, right?
Yes.
Yep.
We said that, okay.
Yeah. So,
How to put it together. I move that we accept the removal of the replacement of the bulkhead with the approved material that was submitted to us, and that the adjoining storefront, detailed as shown on the drawings presented today, be accepted.
and it's a steel
Bars,
frame? Okay. Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So be in touch. When do you think you'll have,
Next week.
perfect. Okay,
absolutely.
good. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Short.
Do you want this sample, do we keep the sample? I guess we'll keep this.
Well, Janice has to have one, a copy, okay.
Genesis.
I have to keep this. Since it was presented.
You need these back? No.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We're moving on to new business. As I said at the beginning of the meeting, application 24-12 for 16 Pleasant Avenue has been postponed to July 25th. So we are moving on to the Board of Adjustment referral, application 2885 for 41 Prospect Avenue. Is there anyone here to speak to that? Would you please come forward? So before I introduce the application, could you please state your name and your relationship to the project?
Sure. My name is Mara Weinstein, and I'm one of the homeowners.
Okay,
My architect has COVID, so I'm going to do my best.
okay. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Mara Weinstein?
Okay. Okay, this is a recommendation. This application has been filed with the zoning board for the project description is that the applicant proposes to extend the driveway on the south side of the lot to access a new detached garage behind the home. The project includes a new carport attached to the front of the home on the south side of the lot. The proposed carport is in front of the existing house but is set back 63.5 feet, which exceeds the average front yard setback of 60.43 feet. The considerations for the HPC is that this property is in the proposed Mountain Historic District in the historic preservation element of the master plan. The Mountain Historic District is a late 19th and early 20th century residential mansion district. Historic properties in this district date from the 1870s to the 1930s. The majority of the 174 structures within the district are large residential properties that are 2 to 3 stories in height. These residential buildings were designed in a wide variety of architectural styles, popular in the 19th and 20th century, such as Tudor Revival, Colonial Revival, Craftsman, and Shingle, and feature fine architectural details and ornamentation. So the application is referred to the HPC for comment. The applicant is requesting variance relief from the following sections of the Montclair Code. A variance which states that the width of the house shall not exceed 65% of the width of the lot frontage. And the other thing that we need to be cognizant about, well, that's part of the ordinance. It says that any accessory structure located with 4 feet of a principal building shall be considered part of such a building. The variance for building width will be reduced if the detached garage is pushed more than 4 feet from the house. So what we're looking at is the way it fits into your proposed, I'm calling it an addition, will fit into the character of the neighborhood.
Right.
So you have plans on the screen.
Yeah, I think my architect emailed them. I also have a hard set if you want them.
It's actually easier probably to follow.
Janice, is the handheld microphone there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Does that work? Oop, okay. Okay, I mean, I'm not really sure where you guys want me to start. I mean, I can start by explaining why it's a little bit longer than, why we're asking for that variance. And it's because we have a line of beautiful cedar trees that run down the wraparound porch, and we're trying to preserve them. So we're just pulling the carport out a little bit farther. It's still going to be in line with our front porch and look exactly like the front porch, But we're moving it a little bit farther so that we can leave a space to keep the trees, because we don't want to take down those gorgeous trees. I'm really sorry, but I don't know what this is. Oh, this is the carport going into the garage. So previously, the house had a detached garage in like the back left corner. It was a stable, and it was in disrepair. So the owners before us demolished it because it was, from what I heard, it was completely rotted. And we don't have any garage at all in the building right now. And we're this is the side that we have the most room on to put a garage in. And our architect suggested bringing it close enough to the building that it would count as an extension, so that we have like a little more space to play with it and to get some storage into the garage as well. And I love the look of kind of the carport where you drive through and go to the garage. I've seen it all around town. It seems to fit with the historical nature of our house. We love our house because of the historical nature. We've done everything to kind of preserve it, and we intend to do the same thing.
So just to explain, Prospect Street or Prospect
Ave.
Ave is to the left?
Yeah, Prospect Ave is to the left, and then we're like on the top of the hill, kind of facing east towards the city. But this is just more kind of how we would extend. And the idea is we're actually going to have a little game room. This is for my husband, on the top of the garage that would kind of connect with the bridge from our porch. And then the garage would be underneath, because the way the house sits on the hill, this is included in the plans. I don't know if it's something we're considering today, but we're going to put hoping to put a little balcony off of the master bedroom, just like a little T-porch out there as well. So that's what this plan is. And then we have plans to finish the attic space also. And in doing this, we would be putting in 2 new dormers. There's already dormers on the house, and we're planning on matching them exactly, doing the exact same trim. It's one of my favorite things about the house. I call them the birdies. I don't know what the architectural term is, I'm sorry, but it's like carved into the wood. We're going to replicate that. We're going to replicate the corbels. And then here's some sketches of what the house is currently. And then this is with the carport and the addition. Just tell me if there's something you want me to stop at. We had a whole report done from a structural engineer on how to deal with the water runoff of the impermeable surface. We already have some issues with flooding, and we certainly don't want that to grow or to hurt our neighbors on any of the sides, but especially below us. So we're planning on doing all of this water runoff, pooling underneath with some drains to catch all the water, and if anything, it should actually improve the property instead of maintaining the status quo. And that's that.
Can I just ask, is it page 8 that shows the front facade at the top? Number 1?
What it currently looks like? This one?
Page 8.
I can't see page numbers here.
Yeah,
Okay, hold on.
I think that's that one. No.
This is, the imagined plans. I'm not sure what page this is. I can't tell on here. Oh, yeah, page 8. This is the imagined plans with what we hope to do.
Wait, and so the top is what?
Is what the front of the house would look
Yeah.
like now. So I'm just going to, I guess I can use this pointer. So this currently exists to get into the wraparound porch. And then right here are all these trees. And we're going to match, the posts and everything with the current existing front porch, but we're extending it out further so that we can park here and leave the trees that run down the side of the house there.
So it's a porte cochere you're adding.
Yeah. I just said carport because I didn't trust my French pronunciation.
For this group, you have to say porte cochere.
Okay. Porte-cochere, there we go. I think that's it that
I think that's it. that we
yeah.
have to look
I
at
have
this.
some photos. Do you guys have the photos that okay. You do?
We have photos.
Yeah, the current photos.
With the current photos.
Yes. Yeah, you could show it to us. I think there were current photos in the planning report. There's 2 on page 3. But if you have more,
It might be the same thing you have.
yeah, page 3, figure 4 and figure 5.
These are just all the pictures of what's current with the details, and our plan is to keep everything as absolutely the same as possible.
Yeah, if that was submitted with the plans, let's see. Actually, no, we don't have those. Those were not, those were,
So all those corbels, all the carving, all the way the posts look, we really plan to keep it exactly the same. The windows, everything trying to get the door, the front door to, like the garage doors to look exactly like the front door looks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to look? No?
But I have some questions.
Yes, it's just a second.
I'll do my best.
It occurred to me, I didn't swear you in, did I? So can you raise your hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and everything you say is correct?
I do.
Thank you, okay. So from this point on, be careful.
Okay.
All right, so before we're going to open it up for questions, and then we'll listen to Mr. Smollen's report, okay? So do you want to start with questions? Jerry?
Do you currently have a garage?
We do not currently have
Don't have a garage. Second, what will the pattern and design of the carport be? Because that's the one that's most visible and it's up front.
We plan to match it with the existing front porch. There's only kind of a side picture here.
Same color, same materials?
Same color, same materials, same corbels on the post, same carvings, on the sides. I want it to look like it was also built in 1891.
Okay. Thank you. Those are my questions. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No questions at this time.
I have a question. I believe you testify, is that tree to remain?
I can't see your picture.
Oh, the tree that you said that there was a line of trees, so it's the one that's very close to the house?
Yeah, we're going to try our absolute best. It's a big cedar, it's old, it's beautiful, it's very healthy, it's not endangering our roof at all.
Okay.
We gotta check it out before you moved in. Aside from the pollen that it puts everywhere, I love it, and I want to try to protect all the trees that we can.
That's logical. Thank you. Steve?
No question.
John?
I have no questions.
And Nick?
I just have one, and it might be a little better for your architect, but just in looking at the elevations, I mean, I see that the proposed additions on the house itself, the dormers, things like that, and the attached carport are very consistent with the existing detailing of the house, but the detached garage structure looks like it fell a little short with just the roof pitch and the thickness of the rakes and the trim details. Was there any thought to make that kind of just of the same roof pitch of the main house and the same detailing and bracket details and things like that?
I will ask him. Every conversation that we've had in the planning is I want it to look like it was built at the same time as the house.
Mm-hmm.
So if you all think that doing a roof pitch that mimics the roof pitch of the house would help with that, I'm all for it. I do know, we're trying to, the finishings at least, we're going to try to keep in line with the style of the house in terms of the woods that we use, and so I don't think that's an issue, but I'll have to talk to him about it.
Okay, yeah, that's my only question for right now.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Smollen, your comments, the first one that you said that we should confirm that the garage, right, the new garage, be accommodated within the existing subject property. Could you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's more boilerplate from the Secretary of the Interior standards. The first kind of finding an HPC should make before an addition, like a physical add-on to the house, is considered, is whether or not that use can be accommodated within the existing house. Obviously, houses in 1891 were not built with garages, so we can move past that pretty quickly.
Okay.
And I think it's also notable, like I mentioned in my report, and as the applicant also mentioned here, that the rear yard used to have a garage or carriage house or stable structure, so the site has had outbuildings before, and that certainly suggests that the site is large enough and can accommodate this type of structure without compromising the building's historic integrity.
Even with the location of where they're proposing it?
It's certainly a lot closer now
Right.
than it was in those historic pictures. I think the architect did a lot of maneuvers that are along the lines of what the Secretary of the Interior suggests, like having a connector, like a hyphen between the new and the old, keeping the addition relatively low and not visually obtrusive from the street, using similar materials and detailing to the original house. So I think overall, and I can go into more detail if you'd like, I think a finding can be made that the garage addition is appropriate.
Well, I was going to ask you to continue with your comments.
Oh, sure.
So go ahead with,
I had, maybe, could I start with two questions I had for
Sure.
the applicant? Do you have any insight as to what type of windows you're thinking of using for the new portions?
I would love for it to look exactly like the old windows. Our old windows are original to the house. They have not been replaced. They kind of put, the people before us put like these like weatherproofing glasses on the outside because they let in a lot of air, but it's like the original glass panes with the lead, I don't know what the word is for the...
Divided lights.
Yeah. We obviously can't really put lead in the house with the individual panes. And I have, for the life of me, in the almost 5 years we've lived there, tried to find someone who can work on windows like this, because I actually have a few broken panes, and I have not been able to find an artisan in 5 years who can come and fix these windows. But I would like to replicate them to the best of our ability. It's one of the things I love about the house.
so are you saying you're going to replace those windows?
No. The new windows that are being built as
Yeah.
part of the structure, I'm going to try to have them look and be as close as possible to the ones that are in the main house.
But lead divided light or wood?
Like for the little, I don't know the technical term, I'm sorry. I mean, I think it would look like lead. I would like it to look like exactly, I don't know where there's a good picture of them. But the ones from my bedroom with the little crisscrossing, I would love to replicate that. And that's it's on either side of our front door as well. I would love to make the same windows. I just don't know how to do it with modern material that's not going to be dangerous.
Well, afterwards, there's
you have
an
suggestions,
application
yeah.
that just was approved by us, that they had the same issue, so.
Okay. And if you know of anybody that can fix the original ones, I would love a recommendation, because I've really been trying. I want it to look exactly like the old house. It's my goal.
So true divided lights is safe to say, with like muttons, which are the dividers on the outside.
Buttons?
Muttons.
Oh, muttons. Yes, my architect told me that term. He was like, this might come up. Yes, that would be my hope.
Okay. Other question I had was related to if there was any exterior lighting proposed as part of the project.
He would like to do exterior lighting. From the conversations we've had, we'd like to have it blend in pretty seamlessly. We have some black little iron scrolly lanterns along the property. We have like 2 outside right now on either side of our little stairs going up. I'd like to try and replicate that. I mean, I'm not going to do any like stark modern lighting with this house, but I think given where it is and that you're going to kind of come down the driveway, like we're going to need some lighting for safety even. But obviously, keeping with the theme, we want it to look like it's original to the house. Or I don't know if you can see the front layout. I guess there's this one on the wraparound porch. You can see one of the lanterns, but on our front porch, we also have like a black lantern-y looking thing that looks pretty, to the time period, and we'd like to replicate stuff like that.
So simple accent lighting is
Yeah,
safe to
and
say?
in the carport, I think Logan talked about getting an almost similar hanging piece like we have exactly on the front porch and having it mimic so it would be symmetrical. I think that's the plan.
Okay, just to run through my report quick, what we're dealing with is a vernacular Tudor Revival house. It just maybe isn't painted the color that a Tudor Revival typically is, so that's a little confusing. It has some shingle style influences, I think, certainly toward the right-hand side of the house. So with the Tudor Revival, you're going to see steeply pitched roofs, stucco on the upper part, masonry on the lower, so there's definitely masonry throughout. Multi-light divided windows like we spoke about, and what we're applying in reviewing this application is standard number 9, again about additions, differentiated yet compatible. So the application, as I mentioned, is, I think, certainly achieving compatibility in massing, size, and scale. It's subordinate to the existing historic building, and what that's going to do is ensure that the historic facade fronting Prospect remains the primary focal point. It's not strongly differentiated, but I think an informed viewer would be able to discern that what's new and old in the composition. They're using existing horizontal datums, carrying that across from the porch to the carport. That extends into the bridge connector that goes back to the garage. I think that's all working and not disturbing much of the existing historic fabric. There is a front dormer that's being proposed as part of this application. Your guidelines speak to that those should adopt forms from the existing building, which I think this application is doing. It's not always appropriate to be adding front dormers, but I don't think the disruption to that section of roof is necessarily going to compromise the existing historic integrity beyond kind of how it's already been compromised over time, just with some maybe inappropriate treatments to masonry like paint. So I think overall, just to summarize, I think a finding can be made that the application is appropriate as presented.
Okay, thank you. So we'll start with discussion. Nick, can we hear from you first?
Overall, I think it's compatible and harmonious with the house itself. I see that the zoning variances you're going for lot width, but the overall width that you're measuring is from 2 diagonal points of the house. I don't think it creates a perceived house that's too wide from the street. It's really the carport that pushes it over the lot width, and that's a 1-story transparent stick structure. It's not mass of the house. So not that zoning is our purview tonight, but for that variance, I would be supportive of that on the, and then for the house itself, I think the work on the main house is very harmonious with what's there. I'd like to see some of that detail carried to the detached garage structure, maybe in the way of roof pitch. I don't know if it's the height requirement that the architect might be trying to stay under for an accessory dwelling unit or an accessory structure, but just the rake detailing, the window trim, corner board trim, anything from the main house would be nice to see carried over onto the garage structure. But other than that, I think it's overall compatible design, and I don't think the variances cause any kind of, unneighborly conditions for the neighborhood. So.
Okay, thank you. John?
The location of the garage in the back, I don't have any issue with that. I think the carport in the front is problematic to me, and I think there's not enough detailing to this, and I don't even believe these posts sitting on thin brick piers. I don't think dimension-wise it makes any, it's just not detailed to where I can see that it really works. I think you're going to be surprised. Your little addition in the back is not going to look anything like the rest of the house. I realize it has some of the materials on the outside, but and the windows, but then it has picture windows, and I'm reading metal railings in the back too.
No, wood for sure.
Oh, it's all wood. Okay, the way it's drawn. Well, okay. It's not detailed at all, so I can't really comment on it. But I would encourage you to work with the roof pitch in the back. I don't think it's a matter of accessory structure, because it's considered part of the main structure being within it, so it's part of the building. So I would encourage you to take some of those horizontal lines through that addition, take a hard look at the full glass sliding doors or whatever those are on the side that don't really match up, and just work on that. I know, I get it that you're trying to do it, but I think your architect needs to work on it a little bit more to please you, I think.
Is it appropriate for me to ask you back a question? I don't want to be
Yeah, sure,
inappropriate.
sure.
So you don't think that it's strong enough to support the carport if we keep the same
No,
width?
It looks to me like these posts that are carrying the roof,
Yeah.
maybe they're 8 by 8,
Yeah, that sounds.
but I know a brick is 4 inches. I just don't know how you set that post on brick.
Okay.
I think the brick base to those posts is going to be something larger at the end of the day. The
Okay.
base is going to read larger than those posts. Right now, it looks like a wall slice. It's not reality. But, it's not detailed enough to really comment on it any more than that, so. But I get the intent, so I would get into some more of the details and make sure you get what you want, so.
Steve? Thank you, John.
I'm just going to reiterate what Nick and John said, so.
Okay. But, okay. And Mike?
Overall, I'm supportive of the project. I think Mr. Giuliano and Mr. Reimnitz bring up some real questions for the architect to grapple with. But I think overall that it is appropriate for the home, and I would be supportive of it.
Okay. And Mr. Sweeney?
I'm supportive of the project. I do think details need to be provided on the carport, because I didn't see it, and that's why I asked it. So long as it looks consistent in materials, design, and pattern with the rest of the house. That's the most visible. The garage seems to be a need for it. You don't have one. Currently don't have one. It's fairly common and necessary for their homes. And because the garage is in the back, I think that's less of a problem. But I think, so generally I'm supportive of it, but I think some further details need to be provided.
And I'm of the same opinion. I'm generally supportive of it. I think that when I read carport, I was a little worried. But now that we realize it's a porte cochere, it goes with the era of the house. So I think that's fine. I appreciate that you're saving that tree. I just don't know how that's going to, I hope it survives construction and these things have a chance to
There's
not
3
to.
of them.
But as far as the garage in the back, I think that's certainly indicative of some type of storage, whether it was for horses or what. But I do agree with all of my colleagues that the architectural detail really has to be thought out, fleshed out better. I mean, I can hear what you're saying, and I didn't see that in the drawings.
I will tell my architect.
Okay. Well, you're going to take this now to it's a zoning board, correct?
Yeah, this will go to the Board of Adjustment.
When is that? When is it up? On?
We've had to make some adjustments because last night's meeting was canceled,
Oh, okay.
because we didn't have a quorum. But we expect August 7th,
Okay.
okay?
All right, so July 7th,
No, this will be August 7th.
August 7th, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have enough time, he can.
Once he heals from COVID.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So it doesn't look like anybody's here. Do we have anyone here from the Union Kong Church?
They told me that they were not going to come tonight.
Oh,
They got Mr. Smolin's report, so I will report back to them, because essentially, this is a subdivision.
right.
There's really not a lot to discuss, because you're not going to see it.
Okay, then. So we are now going to,
Wait, Janice, can we just clarify that? Because we've done subdivisions in the past and determined if they're appropriate for the neighborhood, right? So when you say we're not going to see it, I'm not sure what do they mean by that?
Well, it's a conforming subdivision. It's not like they're not proposing any changes to the building.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
they received Mr. Smolin's report, and they didn't really see any issues, and I think they had some other commitments for this evening, so they didn't send anybody. But we can certainly talk about it, and I will send the report to them.
Well, does anybody have any comments on the subdivision, or before we move on?
well, there was you have no, okay, so what it is that it's application 2893, 169 Cooper Avenue. It is a subdivision application. The applicant is the trustees of Union Congregational Church on Cooper Avenue, and the applicant proposes to subdivide the property to create 2 lots with 1 lot containing an existing single-family home. The second lot will be either sold or used for construction of another single-family home. And we are reviewing this to send our comments to the planning board, because this subject property was evaluated as part of the 1981 Preservation Montclair Historic Inventory and is identified as a potential historic site in the historic preservation element of the master plan. The description notes that the house was featured in the November 1900 issue of Scientific America Building Edition as a, quote, modern dwelling of colonial treatment, unquote. The house was designed for Mr. H. Van Dyke by the Montclair architect Christopher Myers, who's a well-known 19th century local architect. Originally located on the south side of Cooper Avenue, adjacent to the Union Cong Church, the house was relocated to the north side of the street to make room for another church structure. And it has been referred to us for just the idea, the concept of this lot, which is large. I believe it's an acre, if that's what I saw. But they want to subdivide it. So there are no variances required, because with the subdivision that they're considering, the width will exceed what the width for a lot in that zone will be. So there's somebody to ask questions of, so why don't we go right to discussion. Before we go to discussion, maybe Mr. Smolin can tell us his remarks.
Sure. So I think 169 Cooper Avenue is presently on a lot that's about 150 feet wide, and it's going to be subdivided, and the building that's sitting there right now, which was moved from the south to the north side of the street, is going to remain on a lot portion that's about 80 feet wide. That's somewhat similar to the width of the lot it was on across the street, just eyeballing the Sanborn and other historic maps that I included in my report. I think as a result of the building being moved, it did lose a little bit of its integrity of sight. It's not like it moved to a different city, but it moved across the street, and it's been somewhat, I think, awkward having such a large side yard adjacent to it. So what the subdivision and conceivably a house in the future is going to do is kind of restore the rhythm and development pattern on that block. So I don't think it's likely to reduce the existing building's historic integrity in really any substantive way.
Thank you. So we're discussing the subdivision on that block. Do you have a comment? Mr. Sweeney?
The comment is that the lot size after subdivision, the two lots, will be consistent with the other lots. The house has not changed, and as was pointed out, the house didn't even exist there before. It was on at the opposite side of the street. I see nothing that really impacts the historic integrity. The only question I had is what are they going to do with the driveway? That just wasn't quite clear, but I'm sure they have some way of addressing that.
Well, it looks as though that from the lot line to the edge of the porch is 16 feet. I think I saw that somewhere, which is more than wide enough for a driveway.
Yeah, okay, that's...
I have no
Mr.
additional comments.
John?
It's a good point about the driveway, and we don't have anything that shows after the subdivision is done, how the house that's there sits on the new subdivided property.
John, can you turn your mic on? I couldn't.
We have something that says they're going to divide it in half, right? They're going to leave the house and they're going to have a new lot. But we don't have anything that shows the existing house and how after subdivision, does the driveway fit in there?
I think we do. Didn't we
Is
have-
there another variance request with this subdivision?
There's no variance. For now,
No.
they'll use the driveways on the adjoining lot. They're not requesting at this time to move the driveway. When there is I assume that when they come up with the plan for a house on the adjacent lot, then they would show how they're going to work the driveways. But at this point, they told me they don't know what they're going to do with that subdivided lot at present.
Oh, I thought I saw a plan of where, I did see it somewhere, because it,
No? If this, all we have is the survey with the proposed subdivision.
Oh, here we go.
yeah. See, it's, they would have to move the,
Nah, they can get it in there, okay. I
Right.
got it. Okay. This is more clear. Okay, I agree. It's fairly consistent with the rest of that side of the street, the rhythm of the houses and the lot sizes. It's going to come down to what this house looks like. but,
Exactly.
Other than that, I don't see any problem with the scale of the neighborhood, so.
Nick?
I don't have any questions. Subdivision plan is pretty clear. I think you could easily get a driveway through there in the 16, 17 feet. But yeah, just curious to see what the house would look like on the other lot.
So we're all in agreement that the that the subdivision can go. Okay, that's our recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, our new business is complete. We are going now on to discussion, the reexamination of the historic preservation element of 2016. And Janice just handed out a memo. We've talked about doing something, but we haven't done anything yet. So, but Janice made it more clear what we have to do, because I was under the impression that of it being a revision. So, according to the memo, which I believe it was Tommy, because I did see some of this handed out in April of 2023, we will, our subcommittee, which is Jerry Sweeney, Mike Graham, and myself, will meet.
Yeah.
And we will look at the goals and objectives and then report back at our July
With your
meeting.
recommendation as to whether or not the historic preservation element needs to be revised or replaced. You know what we talked about. That's what the planning board's looking for.
Right, so and then when do you envision our report going to the planning board?
that remains to be seen. The planning board's going through a little bit of a transition. I expect 3 new members to be appointed to the planning board. We have to figure out who's going to be on this subcommittee. Things are kind of quiet, and now that I've got, I'm fully staffed now, we'll be able to start working on the reexamination report again. So I would say the second half of 2024, the next 6 months, we'll get this knocked out.
Sounds good.
So we're talking September?
Yeah.
Okay,
That would be perfect,
okay.
okay?
Because the new council will have appointments
Yes.
to make as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you looking for suggestions to changes to the preservation element?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the point of
Janice,
this.
yeah.
Sorry,
Go
Chair,
ahead,
go ahead.
Why doesn't Janice tell, because
So
it was
the
not.
purpose of a master plan reexamination report is to examine all the plans, and here, the previous reexamination report and the historic preservation plan that was adopted, I believe, in 2016, and your ordinances, and make comment, and that's how we framed the template for evaluating this, and make your comment to the planning board on whether or not the plan and the ordinances need to be revised, amended, replaced, et cetera. So it's required every 10 years. It's not actually making those changes, it's saying what needs to be done, so that we can, the planning board, we can plan over the next couple of years what work we need to do.
And who we need to hire to assist and how to
And who we need
budget
to hire,
it,
and how
yeah.
much money needs to be budgeted, so, or grants that we need to go after.
Yeah.
That's the process,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
Any other questions about?
And we'll work with you on that. I mean, I know Tommy started working on this. Tommy left last July, so we've had a lot of changes.
Yes.
And Zainab will work with you on, as will I, on getting this completed.
Okay. All right, thank you. So we need to at least have a discussion, and I would ask that other members, all the members of the commission look at this, and if there's any comments, if you could get them to me, maybe by the end of, or the middle of July, it would be very helpful. I mean, as I stated to Janice, there are some things in the master plan that need to be updated. But I couldn't see going for a whole new rewrite of this, because this is, very good as it is now. All right, our next topic of discussion.
Will you send the list of things that you think have to be, so the least of the 2 of us?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I could tell you one, we've got more local landmarks. Well, we have about 4 or 5 more. So the list goes up to like 36, and I think there's 20-something in there. That was the one thing that just crept up. All right, the Board of Education, Woodman Field. Nothing has happened yet. I've called a couple of times, asked to be put through. I have not received a return phone call, wrote an email message. And now I'm hoping that maybe with Zana on board, that maybe we can write a real letter.
Letter to whom?
To Dr. Pons. Oh, sorry, you weren't here. We've been discussing this. The destruction of the ticket booth that was part of the original site plan that was designed in the 1920s, and the architect was Starrett and Van Vlecht, and it was taken down. It shouldn't have been demolished in the way it was, and then just put into a dumpster. So that is a historic structure that really should have, if they were going to demolish it, should have come before us. So,
And it wasn't in the plans to be demolished,
and
correct?
exactly,
Yeah.
thank you. And it wasn't in their plan for it to be demolished.
You're right.
So, maybe we can get a reconstruction of it. I have a few of the original elements that have been dropped off to me that are now in my garage. So it would be great to, I don't know what their concept is, and if they're thinking that a ticket booth can even be, situated there at this point. I don't really know what the idea is. All right, so we'll be in touch.
I do want to ask a question on
Yes.
that. So is the township and the Board of Education is part of the township, bound by the historic preservation obligations in that they have to submit any applications that they wish to demolish or modify?
Well, that's been very fuzzy, hasn't it?
We've been involved in litigation. If you don't know the story, we directed the Board of Education that they needed to get approval from the Board of Adjustment in this case, because they needed conditional use variance, which would have sent it to this board for comment. They disagreed. They issued a lawsuit, or initiated a lawsuit, saying that we were beyond, our authority in saying they needed to do that. And so during the pending lawsuit, the judge who was overseeing it instructed the two sides to settle. So we settled the litigation and made some changes, and that's where we are today. So.
Is there any
Is that the
indication?
answer to my question?
Yes.
It's not clear, but you've
I was-
settled this issue.
The answer is that yes, our position is that they needed to get approvals because this is a non-educational facility. Educational facilities are exempt from zoning review.
But
Okay.
non-education.
This is a non-educational facility, and based on our research, because it's a non-educational facility, it needs to meet local requirements.
Well, settlement agreements are often confidential, but I would ask you, is that one of the agreed-to provisions that they, in going forward for non-educational buildings, they would submit to?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
That's
Thank
one
you.
of the
Appreciate
conditions
that.
of
Well done.
settlement.
Well done on that. Seems like it should have been unnecessary, but well done regardless.
Yes.
And then violations, there's a number of violations that have cropped up, and I keep sending things to I was sending them to FAWA, so now who will handle that? Do I send them to?
Zenab will handle them. I mean, I
Okay.
know that there were several that we issued last month, and we gave them 30 days to resolve. So I have to follow up, and we will follow up to find out if they address the violations that were pointed out. It really helps for us, if you see violations, to let us know, because, we're not out there doing, checking everything. And if you see something that is different from what you approved, let us know, and then we'll reach out to them, let them know. Eventually, it gets to a we try and work with them, and then we issue the violations.
So what happens, Janice, if I've sent in notification of a violation, and I drive by, and it's still in violation? What is that? What does that mean?
That's the process. Literally, we start with a warning, then we issue we issue the violation. We always have to give them time to resolve.
Right.
And it goes to code enforcement. Code enforcement takes them to court. And if you
Well, how
see-
long does that take?
Could take up to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes time.
How long do they typically have to resolve the defect?
Well, normally we give them a warning and we give 30 days.
30 days.
It depends on what needs to be done.
Yeah.
If it's bringing them to to get approval here, or for a change of approval, then it might take a little bit longer for them to submit their plans and get.
But typically about 30 days or
We
so.
try and work with 30-day intervals.
Okay.
Okay, well, these, what I'm speaking about are, I would say, minor violations, one of which is an awning that has a neon illuminated that they were warned in Upper Montclair and Bellevue Avenue last year, and the light went off, and now it's reappeared again. So I'll be sending that to you as well.
We'll send it
again.
right, that'll go direct to code enforcement.
Right.
If they've been warned and they're not following it, you send it to me and we'll send it directly to code enforcement.
Okay, but we still have two bigger things, which is 11 South Fullerton, which hasn't been resolved, and then 30 North Mountain, which I don't know what you want to do about that.
Okay, 11 South Fullerton, we sent a warning letter, another letter, heard nothing. I got no response, because I did that a month ago. So we'll hand it over to code enforcement. take them to court.
Okay.
We did reach out to 30 North Fullerton. We spoke to, this was Farwa.
North Mountain.
North Mountain, I'm sorry, North Fullerton, North Mountain. Farwa, before she left, spoke to the owner, and they said, Montclair, we thought you were going to come to us. And our message was, no, you need to come back to the Historic Preservation Commission with the additional details.
We also offered to go on site, and he said he didn't want us to come on site.
No,
Okay.
that was our conversation. And we said, this is where it was left off. It was, you were to return with these things, and so he's informed.
Well, when does that become, does that get turned over to code enforcement?
Well, what's the violation there?
Well, they added something. They added the staircase that shouldn't have been added.
So we can go, that's why we need to, I know there were a lot of pieces to that.
Right.
And some of the things that they were proposing that they didn't do. You know, they were proposing, the little retaining wall. Which
Well, not yet. They haven't done it yet.
I know, so
But
we can't
do we
really
know
give
if they're doing it?
We can't give them a violation for something that they haven't done.
No, but they have done something.
So that's where we can issue a violation for the stairs.
Right.
They were done without, was done without HPC approval. That's, again, that's the only thing that I know of. If you tell me what the violation is, we'll follow up with it.
Okay, well, and then you brought up a point, because you were at the meeting, that staircase needed a railing?
That was what the construction official, or we've had a little bit of a revolving door with construction officials. 2 construction officials ago, when I brought it to us, he said it needs a railing. Then so we had to confirm that, because I don't know if the current construction official, if that's his opinion.
It does.
30 inches.
It's more than 3 stairs.
You don't need guards, you just need a handrail to go down the steps.
I can't hear you, John.
You don't need guards because the grade on either side of those steps is fairly level with the steps, but you do need a handrail.
You need a handrail.
Yes.
That's
different than a guard, you know.
I
where
think it
you-
was just a handrail that we noted it.
Yeah.
That it's not provided.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they need permits and did not obtain them? They didn't
He
obtain
did
the
not obtain a building permit. for
building
those
permit, and it's
stairs.
required, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the construction official had told me 2 construction officials ago.
Start pouring concrete all over the place in Montclair.
You just
So
have to be-
I will follow, if that's, he hasn't responded, we'll go to code enforcement, and I can say that they never received HPC approval for those stairs. It's kind of hard to follow this particular, there were a lot of pieces
It's
to
very
it.
confusing.
Yeah, and I wasn't involved in many of those conversations, so.
Okay, we did have one, any further discussion topics? We did have one, if not, we'll move on to this 27 Hillside Avenue, the Montclair Inn, which we just received. I know Janice sent it to me a couple of weeks ago, but I know that everybody else just, I think, got their copies tonight. This is a 106 review for window replacement, and it is at the Montclair Inn, which is a retirement home at 27 Hillside Avenue. It was originally constructed in 1855 with an addition in 1900. The inn is situated in the First Residential Historic District. It is listed on both the New Jersey National Register of Historic Districts as ID 1128, and so this project is subject to a Section 106 review.
That's because they're using federal funds to replace the windows.
So the purpose of the review is to determine if there would be any adverse effects to the historic property through the implementation of the project. Any adverse effects may alter characteristics that qualify a specific property for inclusion in the National Register in a manner that would diminish the integrity of the property. Section 106 guidelines suggest that deteriorated historic features should be repaired rather than replaced. If replacement is necessary due to severe deterioration, the new windows must match the original in design, color, texture, and other visual qualities. So, the window, I mean, there's a lot of pictures with a lot of different windows in here. It's not specific as to which windows they propose to be replaced.
It looks like to me, too, that the transom windows are leaded glass, and they're not proposing that in the windows that they're not proposing to do what you just read, essentially.
And you can see that clearer on Figure 3.
Right.
So, Janice, does this, we make comments to the zoning board, or what?
No, I submit these to the county,
Right.
because this is CDBG funds from the county. When they use federal funds, they always want to make sure that the funds are being used for projects that are consistent with, they do a historic preservation check, particularly since this building is on the state national register.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. The reason I was confused is because on page 2, 3, and 4, the top heading said it's to the zoning board. But I realize it's application 2887, which I don't think,
That's a mistake.
right.
That's a cut and paste mistake.
Okay, all right. That's why I didn't understand. So what they're asking for is whether or not, do you think that we can even look at this?
There's not enough information here.
Right.
There's not enough details of, I mean, the new window, I know what the Pella windows are and how they get installed and trimmed out, and I see how these windows exist now. There just isn't enough detail at the jamb, head, and sill of each window to understand what's existing and what's proposed. You know, how can we look at it? And you know, Stephen knows that, there's no detail here.
Right.
So,
I'd also add that it seems like they're doing both full window replacement, like frames and all, for some windows, and then there's also just sash replacements proposed for about a third of the windows, maybe. So there definitely needs to be an inventory of what they have right now, because the single picture provided on page 3 here, that mortise and tenon joint in the bottom, I wouldn't say qualifies as severe deterioration.
So, Janice, can you get back to the,
Yeah.
to the Montclair Inn and ask for a more detailed, a plan and pictures of each facade and really each window?
Yeah.
I'm also just catching that these are all standard size windows, so there's likely to be trim getting added all over the place, which may present an aesthetic concern.
Well, if it's a question of the budget, and I mean, it's hard to even understand how many windows they are replacing. So we need quantity. If they're standard windows, I mean, this is an old house, so they're not going to be standard windows. And definitely the metal mullions have to be maintained in the transoms.
Okay, but in order to evaluate this, you're going to need details of the facades and of each window that's going to be replaced.
Right.
And you want details of the jamb and the sill and.
the head of the window.
What am I
The
missing?
head of the window.
The head?
The jambs on either side, and the sill at the bottom.
Okay.
And then
London profiles.
again,
And I missed that, Nicholas?
The Muntin profiles.
Muntin profiles.
And also where these windows, the actual window that they referenced by number, where in the facade they
Yeah.
plan to go.
We need plans and elevations.
So I assume that they don't have an architect that's doing this, but if they do a photo analysis
Mhm.
of all these details, I'm just trying to make sure I give them the right information.
Well, in order to come up with this, they have to have the plans and elevations,
Mhm.
because they've got quantities and sizes and things like
The
that.
plans
Now,
and
but
elevations
You know what
of-
they did? They went to the Pella window supplier and said, give me windows for all these openings,
Mhm.
and list them.
And so
It had nothing to do with what was there historically, and whether these are, you know.
So what I'll
work.
have the executive director do a photo analysis
Mhm.
of each of the windows that are being replaced compared to what's being proposed, and have that submitted to you for the next meeting.
And also the level of deterioration on each window, because,
Well, I think the photos will show that, right?
well, no, not if they're closed. Like this one here,
Doesn't look bad.
Yeah, there's no window photos that look bad at the moment. I mean, maybe be patched and painted and
Yeah.
window panes broken, but I don't,
Okay.
I guess they have, they're going for some money, so they have available to them some money to make some of them. I get that, but,
maybe the roof.
yeah, use it someplace else.
Any other further comments on this 106? Stephen, do you have anything further to add to this?
Just, do you know the thrust of the project, or were funds available with a grant, or are they trying to achieve some, I think someone said there's like a healthcare
No,
use,
this
or?
is
senior?
a low-income, an affordable senior housing. It's like co-housing, it's
Okay.
shared housing.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
for very low-income seniors. It's funded, this is funded through this Community Development Block Grant because it primarily benefits, they're all, low income.
Mhm.
So,
Did they fail like a inspection and they need to do this project as a result of that, or?
I think they're just trying to make it more efficient.
Okay, so
In
energy
terms of, like
efficiency.
weatherize the building, make it more efficient, et cetera.
And it looks like maybe they have interior storm windows, although I can't really tell in that one picture.
Yeah, there's just one picture, this one, correct?
Yeah,
Number 3.
On page 3.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have the executive director come to the next, if she's available, come to the next meeting, okay, with these answers.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great, thank you. Yeah, with more, and if we could get it in advance so we
Yeah.
can look at it, that would be great. Which brings me, our next meeting is July 25th. Before we leave, though, I just wanted to ask commissioners, I won't be here in September, which was our planned Preservation Award evening, so I had suggested if we could on September 5th, which is a Thursday, and there is nothing on in this room. Steve can't be here, but can other people, just for the award, if we start at 7 o'clock, it'll last probably a half an hour, 45 minutes at the most.
I'll be available, Chair, yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I think this year we're going to have some good awardees, so,
Good.
okay. So Janice, could you,
I don't have anybody available for that, because I'm going to, you haven't, Senab has another meeting that night. Can you
Well, we
have,
don't-
you don't need to have us
No,
staff
we don't
there.
need,
That's what I'm
yeah, no, I asked, I've already asked in the back, and he's available on September 5th, Rick,
Okay.
on Thursdays.
But you don't need my department here, that's all.
No, I was just wondering, what do we do in terms of reserving the room? Do we have to go through you to ask to use the
Yeah,
room?
well, if you want, I'll, just let us know and we'll reserve the room through the manager's office.
Okay, so 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock on
September
September
5th.
5th. And what are the hours? Because we have to unlock the door.
7 to 8, let's say 1 hour, 7 to 8.
So that's just for the awards?
Yes.
For the
We're not
awards.
rescheduling September?
No,
No.
no, no. You'll be here for September meeting, right?
I'll be here for September.
I'll be back the day before.
All right, is there any other further business?
No?
No? Okay, so with that, I have a motion to adjourn at 9:20.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. See you in July.